So I know it's not season 3 yet, but I could not hold this back. We are going to be doing a pre-season 3 support tier list. This is going to be our predictions to where we think the supports are going to be moving into season 3. Now, with this video comes a follow-up video about 2 to 3 weeks after the patch drops, which your patch drops should be early January. About 2 to 3 weeks after that, I will do a full support tier list for season 3, and then I'm going to use this video as a reference point to see how close we think we were. Now, I got some practice on the supports during the PTS. I didn't get a ton, but I do have a decent idea where I think these supports are going to be, so be sure to sit down, buckle up, and be ready for this bumpy ride. There's going to be some spicy things in here, and since this is a pre-season 3, this will be a spicy one because nobody really knows where these supports are going to be. So again, I hope you all enjoy this. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. But without further ado, let's jump into my pre-season 3 support tier list. One last thing before we get into this, be sure to check up there. I think there, one of the corners, the top right corner of your screen, you will see an I button. I will post all of the videos of the patch notes for season 3 that I have covered up until this date, talking about the changes to the supports, the items, everything you need to know for this video. If you don't know what's going on in season 3, be sure to watch those videos first before you watch this, because none of this will really make that much sense to you until you watch those and know what's going on season 3. But if you know exactly what is going on, sit down and let's start this. So first champion, we're going to go in alphabetical order, is Furia. My bae. Furia is probably my favorite champion in the game currently. She is very strong, and I think she's going to get stronger next patch due to a final change she had done to her in the PTS. So we're going to put her all the way up in S. I think Furia is going to be one of the strongest, if not the strongest support next patch. What they did to her, very simply, was reduce her base cooldown of Kindle Soul from 4 to 3 seconds. With the old Kindle Soul, her card, I forgot, with her old card that reduced the cooldown, it reduced it by 1.25 seconds, so it reduced it to 2.75 if you ran that card at 5. Now it's 3 base. With Chronos being reduced to 300, 600, 900, that makes it much easier to get down to that old base cooldown and below, and a lot faster. She is better late game as well, healing with Cherish. Now, let me preface all this by saying Cherish, not Solar Blessing. Cherish Furia will be the best. I still don't think Solar Blessing has a place. Sorry to say it, I still think Cherish is just much better, and even more now than ever. Cherish Furia will be much better late game because of the caught being reduced from 90% to 75% max. So those late game heals are going to feel much better on people. And her early game healing hasn't been changed. So her early game healing is still very good. And now her late game healing will scale better. Her damage is still really good. They didn't touch her ult. They didn't touch her damage. They didn't touch her attack speed. They didn't really touch her at all. If anything, they gave her a buff because the card that used to reduce her cooldown of her right click now reduces beam by 5 seconds at max range when you put a right click on somebody. It has an internal cooldown, but it reduces beam by 5 seconds, so now you have more utility, and the utility gets more viable because of the resilience nerf. Resilience is now 20, 40, 60. So Furia became way better than she ever was, and I think she's better than she is this patch due to those changes. She now frees up support slots. Her cards, because they got rid of that, the card that reduces her right-click cooldown, you now have 5 free points. You don't have to run the card that reduces it by 5 seconds the beam. You can now run any card you want. And one thing I do is I run a very high self-sustaining Furia, and that's lets you brawl more, because that's what Furia likes to do. She is a brawly support. And for those reasons, I think she's going to be nuts. With her being able to do more damage, more self-sustain, more base health, she can do more damage. And what does that equate to? As I always say, more ult charge and supports. Damage is key for ult charge. Healing doesn't do that much ult charge. The more damage, the better. The first ultimate almost always wins the point fight for supports. So Furia S, I think she's going to be the best support next patch. And again, this is alphabetical order, but yeah, it's already said. I think Furia is going to be the best. And with alphabetical order, not planned, the worst support next patch, Grohk. We're going to put him down at C. I was not able to practice him that much. But he still has the inherent issue of having no self-sustain with Spirit's Domain or Totemic Ward. I know Bulldozer was nerfed, so his totem is much stronger now because you cannot kill it as fast. But if you want healing as Grohk, you have to stand in that totem. What does that do? Allow you to be killed. And without running cards that buff up his Ghost Walk, he's not able to get out. He can be killed super easy. He has absolutely no self-sustain, no way to keep himself alive at range, even though he can blaze his totem from range now, which was changed way back. He still has no way to live unless he's on that totem. That is Grohk's inherent issue, and they said they were going to touch that in the first patch of Season 3, so be on the lookout for that. But for now, Grohk, you suck, okay? You're not good. But he has really high healing and a great ultimate. Let me just say that. His healing numbers are kind of nuts, and his ultimate's really good. But no self-sustain is a killer for supports. Grover's an interesting one. I think Deep Roots is actually going to be the play when it comes to support. Because Resilience was nerfed to 20, 40, 60, you get much more value off hitting those roots because you can't reduce it fully. They're still stuck in that root enough time for you to get another axe off or for a teammate to hit a shot. With the combination of Fatalis, I think Grover's going to be very good, and we're going to put him at B+. I think he's a strong support, but I think he's strong. Like, I don't think there's much more to say because his AoE was actually increased. That's one of the other big things on Grover was his AoE on his heal was increased. His ultimate, though, is one of the biggest things that set him apart from just B being balanced. The reason he's above being balanced is his ultimate. His ultimate still does insane amount of healing, and like we said, with Furia base healing, his ultimate now gets more value late game because it's capped to 75% cauterize. Grover does 2,500 healing per second with his ultimate. You can do the math, 75%. His ultimate is gonna do so much better. That 15% change will help him so much late game. And I'm excited to see where Grover is exactly gonna be when the patch comes out. Next is Io. Now, Io is a very interesting one for me. I'm not sure about her yet, but there's a couple of key factors with Io that makes me place her where she is. Io's going to go B+ with Grover, and a couple of factors that put her there instead of B or B- is one, her DR was nerfed. She's not the strongest support anymore because her DR was nerfed from 25% to 15%, a big nerf. But that is counteracted and offset by the fact they increased her base Moonlight capacity by 30% with a card. You can now increase the base capacity and still regenerate Moonlight with different cards. So now you have more base and you can still generate. But still, her healing was nerfed and her DR was nerfed. Now, with all that, I would say Io would probably be B-. But one key thing with Io, very key thing that puts her B+, with DR Io, less with Lifelink. Now, Lifelink, I think, if you run Lifelink, she's going to be more of a B support. But with DR, her doggo, Fox, as you all want me to call it, but doggo had a slight reduction on its health on the final patch, but Bulldozer only being 20, 40, 60 instead of 75, 150, 225 is going to be insane as a point tank. And you can also put some base health with your cards into that dog, and I think that might be worth now, but I'm not sure yet. You can now put the dog on point and it'd be so much more stronger mid to late game because Bulldozer does not cap as high as it used to. That's what offsets Io from being a average support and a below average support to being an above average support. I'm very excited to see what happens with her and how good she actually is. But for now, we're going to keep her at B+ and move on to the next one, which is Jenos. Jenos is a very average support coming Season 3. I'm pretty sure I have a good grasp on him. I think he's going to go B. And a couple... honestly, there isn't much to say about him. He is average. He gets more value on maps like Timbermill with a lot of walls and a lot of line of sights. But I think he's really only viable in triple DPS comps now because of his healing is very low. Overall, I mean, this patch and the next patch's healing is low. And I think with the healing nerfs, With everything changed on the other supports, he's only going to be viable with triple DPS comps. I don't see him viable with normal 2 tank comps. I think you're going to need that extra healing that, say, Io or Grover or Furia brings to the table. Because he is a very niche support now, I'm going to put him at B, but I'm interested to see if he fits in any other comps. Next is Damba. Damba is a very interesting one. He has about average healing with Gourd and right click. He has a very strong utility and ultimate. Now, what I said in my previous tier list, Damba is held back by resilience, isn't that true anymore, because people can't buy Resi 3 and totally just negate your ultimate and negate your stuns. Now it's capped at 60%. Those will still have effect on people. With those changes, plus the change to Gourd, even though in the final patch they reduced the base healing of Gourd, with the change of Gourd, I am going to put him at A. I do think he's going to be a very strong higher level support. Now, why do I say higher level? Because there is a main issue with the Gourd talent. It's an AoE on the ground you throw, and people don't like standing in it. You need smarter players to play with it. It's as simple as that. Some people just don't stand in the Gourd. It's a crazy phenomenon. You're like, here, take a Gourd. I'm trying to heal you. Can you at least look for it? People don't look for it. But I think at a higher level, people will, and they know to look for the Gourd, because Gourd is very, very strong healing right now. With his ultimate being way better, with his utility in general being way better, his healing being about average, but Gourd being a lot stronger now, with the talent that doubles the healing, but it doesn't do damage to enemies. I think Damba is going to be very, very strong. I was in between putting him A and B+. But for the fact that I think if people pay attention to the Gourd and then they stand in it, he's A very easily. But besides that, I'd put him at B+ at a more lower level game, or B. But the next one is Pip. Now, I said this tier list is going to be spicy. Pip, I think, is going to be one of the stronger supports next patch. For a couple of reasons. I think Megapot and Comet Medic are both viable. I think Comet Medic is the better one, but the higher skill cap one. It has some insane healing numbers, and with the changes to Pep and the Step a couple patches ago, and I did a video recently on Pip, so be sure to check that out to see exactly what I'm talking about and more in depth. I think he's going to go A. Yeah, I just put Pip on A, all right? Don't judge me. I think he's strong. I think his healing numbers are off the charts if you are good at landing the auto attacks. And if you are smart with the healing potion and you have an Eevee or Mave or a flank or a Drogoz on your team, you have to use that healing potion on your flankers and on your airbound so you don't have to try to aim at them with the autos, because that's still hard. But besides that, his healing numbers are nuts. And he has self-sustain with Gift Giver. With Pep and Step as well for some utility to give some allies movement speed and reset, and the fact that Chronos has a reduction on credit price, and his ultimate, this is a very small thing, his ultimate, if you didn't know this before, you can only reduce his ultimate to 50% reduction. So usually Resi 2 would do the trick before. But with the price change and the change of resilience, you now have to buy Resi 3, which is 100 more than last patch. You have to spend 100 more credits. Now that is offset by the starting credits being increased by 50, so it's really only 50 credits more, but that still makes a big difference. Now people have to buy Resi 3 to counter your ult, because 40% isn't the max. And if you want that max reduction, you have to go 60%, and you have to spend those extra credits. I think Pip is going to be very strong next patch, but he is very high skill cap. I don't think he's going to be a strong casual healer. I think you have to know Pip, you have to love Pip, you have to be Pip. He is not an easy champion to play with Combat Medic. Now, Mega Potion, I'd put it more B+, maybe B. But with Combat Medic, I think it's going to be extremely strong support. We're going to keep him at A, and I'm excited to see what people have to bring when it comes to Combat Medic. I know it's a spicy take, but let me know what you think about Pip in the comments. This is the one that I'm talking about when I say spicy. I do think Pip's going to be very strong. Now, next is Seris. I always said Seris isn't that good, and she still isn't that good. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't yell at me in the comments, all right? She's not good competitively. Healing is not everything, and Seris, all she brings is healing and a Mat ultimate. But her healing numbers are high enough now compared to all the reductions of the other supports that I'm gonna put her at B. I think she can be played competitively. Do I think she's gonna be the best support? No. Before, did I think she could be played competitively? No. So now I think she can be. She's not the best, but she can be played. So I'm gonna put her at B. She's about average. But all she brings is healing. She's an average support. I think she's an amazing low-level support. And if you're trying to pick up supports, play Seris. Seris is a very easy support to learn the game on and learn supporting. I think I did a Seris video recently where I said she is a bridge support. She bridges you. Here you are as a new player. Here you are as an experienced player. Seris will take you over that bridge to being an experienced support player and to move on to champions like Dom, Pip, those higher skill cap supports. So for those reasons, I'm going to put Seris at B. So these next two are not in the support class, but they're kind of supports now in a weird way. One doesn't do as really any healing. He kind of does now, but he does some healing. But he's still a support because all he is really utility now. Before he kind of was, but now he is more than he is more now than ever. But the first one we're going to talk about is the purple lady herself, Skye. There isn't much to say about these two besides there is a possibility of them being very strong off support, so I'm going to put them both at B. Let's group them together, Skye and Torvald. Because they're about the same. I think they're both strong off supports. You cannot run either as a main support. You need to have a, say, Jenos Skye comp or a Jenos Torvald comp. But I do think there is a possibility of them both being very strong as in the off support role as a second support and doing damage. Now, Torvald doesn't do that much damage, and he's more supporty than damagey, but you get the point. I think they're good second supports. I'm going to put them at B for now because I think they're going to be good. I'm not sure. I don't want to put them below average because I think they can be viable if two supports become a thing because of a lack of general healing. I'm very excited to see what happens with those two, and I'm very happy with the changes they made to those. Skye being an off support is weird, but it's a thing. I think they might end up turning her into a support at some point, like they were going to do Moji, but, you know, we'll see. I think they're both strong off support, so we're going to leave them B. And the last, but not least, Ying. Ying, we're going to put B+. Now, let me give you some reasoning here. I say that healing is not everything in Paladins, which is true. But Ying has something over Seris that just outdoes her now. Really now more than ever. Her ultimate. Ying's ultimate was not reduced in the patch. Her healing was reduced from 420 to 360 on her illusions, and her right-click healing was reduced from 800 to 700. So her base healing was reduced, but her ultimate is still extremely strong. Extremely strong now that it's capped to 75%. Again, with the Grover thing, it does such a high healing number that late game, it'll still heal for a lot. And again, it's a global ultimate, so it's, sorry, microphone. It'll hit all of your teammates no matter what. Her strongest, her ult is so strong. That's why she's B+ and not B, is because her ultimate. She has very high healing, very strong ultimate, good damage, because a couple patches ago they reduced her fall off damage, so that made her much better at doing damage, which again, damage equals ult charge on supports because healing doesn't do that much. So you want to try to be doing a lot of damage on those champions like Grover, Ying, Furia, where your ultimate is so strong. Wow, I just smacked my keyboard. Sorry about that. But because their ultimates are so strong. Ying, B+. I'm excited to see where exactly she's going to place. I think she's going to stay B+ or go up because of her ultimate. I don't see her going down. We'll have to see. And that is not it for the tier list because, hey Vex, why aren't you adding Moji and Khan and Raum now? Because Raum does healing for some reason. Why aren't you adding them to the tier list? Oh my god, add them. Sorry, I was role-playing one of my... I love you guys. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm going to do this for a fan service. Okay, Khan, healer, sucks. Moji, sucks a little less, so we're gonna put her at D. She's not awful. She's awful, but she's not as awful as these two. Okay, I'm gonna do a video on this Big Red Man support at some point. It's really bad. I tried it one time. Oh god, it's so bad. Oh man, I tried to build a composition around it. It's so bad. His heals. It's so bad. But Raum, Khan, and Moji, okay, there you go. Are you happy? Are you happy now? Are you not going to rage type? I'm just kidding. I love you guys. But that is it for my pre-season 3 support tier list. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Because this is a pre-season 3 tier list, there's a lot of spicy takes here. So let me know what you think and where you think these champions are going to be moving into season 3. And be sure to check the whichever side it is, for my previous videos on season 3 to really have a good idea what's going on in season 3 if you don't already. I hope you enjoyed this tier list because darn did I enjoy this and making this. To end this all off, let's talk over final points on these champions, why they're there. Furia S, mainly because everything got buffed on her. Everything. Damba, strong healing, utility got better. Pip, extremely strong healing, really good utility. High skill cap, but very, very good. Grover, deep roots, meta, question mark, support. That's kind of crazy. Ultimate, insane. Damage, insane. Healing, pretty good. IO, pockets are extremely strong. And Dog might be an OP point tank. Ying, very, very, very good ultimate. Jenos, average, more niche. Seris, just an average support. I think she's going to do things okay. Skye, Torvald, both could be very strong off supports. Grohk, no self-sustain. Does not make for a good support. Can be killed too easily. Moji, Raum. But that is it for my tier list. I hope you all enjoyed this. And I also hope all of you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, whatever it is where you live. And I'll see you in the next one. Later. And a huge shout out to my members: Banana Bobs, Branch Fam 805, Clayton Nabidi, Connor, Dark Phantom, Jay, Mason Lane, Sivas, and to all my other members, thank you so much.